Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Today we're going to show you how a bass player packs for a gig, or at least how this bass player packs for a gig. So I was thinking about bringing the 212 cabinet, but I wanted to bring 312s, and I would have to put the other 12 in the back seat, which I don't want to do, so I'm not going to do that. This is a 2025, I think, Chevy Trax. Maybe it's a 2024. That's the new vehicle. And so I'm going to put the iPad holder right here in this little spot. I've got my 15-inch cabinet right there. I've got two Mesa heads, one's just a backup, and they fit just nicely in this particular trunk between the 12 and the 15. So I've got the 12 on its side there. I've got the tip jar in this handy little spot they decided to put here just for a tip jar. Always have a tip jar. That's really nice of them. This bag right here, well, that's all the cords, including like anything I might need, like an extra like a quad box, that sort of thing. Got some redundancies in there, so more cords than I actually need. But I don't usually bring quite that much, but this pretty much has all kinds of backups. This is the pedal board. And it's actually this old laptop case, and I've got a few pedals on here, like a compressor and a tuner, and I think a phaser, and the power supply, and that's about it. And then we got this little sucker that I made here, because I like to be able to wheel these cabinets around a little bit, so I kind of built this for probably too much money from parts at Home Depot, but it works fine. And so I can just fit that in there. And I used to be able to put like the guitar stand in the back here, but with this trunk, it's a little different than the last car I had. So, guitar stand goes back there. This mic stand, the straight mic stand, is where I'm going to put the iPad holder for some notes for some tunes, which I have no clue, I learned them, but I like to make sure that I have my set list available on an iPad, usually on top of the amp. But if there's something I have to look at just for reference, even just to glance at, I'll do that. I got a couple basses here because I'm actually packing for two different gigs. I played at both of these places before. I know neither of them have room for two basses. Otherwise, I'd have two stands or a different stand. But one of them is a 4-string, and I'm playing with a guy who plays in E-flats rather than standard tuning. And so I have a bass that I've actually strung up with these interesting DR strings that are supposed to be better for that, DDT or whatever the heck they are. Actually, pretty good. Sound nice. And so I'm happy with the tension on those when it's tuned flat. And I always like to be able to play a 4-string if I can, because it's a lot of fun. And then I've got a 5 for tonight in the other case. And it took a while to figure out which 5 I was going to bring, but I decided to bring the Music Man Stingray 5. And it was quite the battle in terms of what I was actually going to bring, but that's what happened. So yeah, that's how I'm packing for gigs. Pretty efficient. Good amount of stuff, but outside of the bases, once I take those out of the vehicle, people can't really see what's going on with the rest of the stuff. I have not tried to push the seats down and take that little top off because it is a hatchback. But I've done one gig already with a full PA system, but without the bass gear. This car is a little bit smaller on the inside than the last car I had, so I'm not sure how it's going to be with all the bass gear and all the PA equipment. It could be a little tough because it's a tight squeeze to begin with, with all that stuff. But I make it work, so what the heck. So yeah, this is how we pack.